Okay, class, today we're going to be doing graphing circles. So we know that the equation for a circle centered is where? Where do you think the center of a circle would be? Based on all the functions that we've used, you should be used to this. It's going to be at h and it's going to be at k. And it's always going to have a radius that we're going to denote as r. Now the equation that we're going to use is going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, and it's always going to equal my r, my radius squared. So let's write the equations for the given circles. If I look at this first circle here, I know that my center is where? What is this coordinate right here? I go over 1 and I go down 2, right? So it's going to be a 1, negative 2. And that's going to be giving me a radius of what? To go from this point to this point, I have to go over how many? That's correct, 3. So based on me having my h now and my k now and my r, can I put that in the equation like the equation above? Now remember, this says minus and this says minus. So that's going to give me an equation of x minus 1 squared plus, now my 2 is negative, so I'm going to have a y minus negative 2, which is going to be what? That's correct. Y plus 2 squared, and that's going to equal my radius squared, and 3 squared is 9. So I want you to take a moment, pause your video, and I want you to do number 2 when you're on, and then we'll do it together. So I know what for number 2. Okay, so for number 2, what did you get that your circle was? What was your center of your circle? You should have got a negative 2 and a 1. And then I have a radius of what? I'd have to go count over 4 units. So my radius is going to be 4, giving me an equation of x plus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 4 squared is 16. So now I'm going to do the same thing for number 3. So I know that I have a center at the origin. So it's going to be 0, 0. And my radius goes all the way over, and I'm counting by 1, so it's going to give me a radius of 6. So think about that. When I write it, I would have to write like x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 36. But we generally just write it as what? That's correct. X squared plus y squared equals 36. I know Ms. B wrote 32 there. Let me correct that. That should have been a 36. Okay, let's focus on the bottom half of the paper now. So I know that I have the equation for my graph. And based upon that, I know that my center is what? It's going to be exactly what this is. So it's going to be 3. And it's going to be this if it was negative. So it's going to be a what? A negative 2. So my radius would just be the square root of 25, which is 5. So I can plot those points on my circle. So I know my center is at 3, negative 2. So I'm going to go over 3, down 2. And I know that my radius is 5. So I can go over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can go up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to connect those points. Okay. And you should have a circle that kind of looks like this. Okay, based upon that, I want to know the coordinates. It says plot 4 points on the circle by moving r units above, below, to the left, and to the right of the center. So if I'm going to move r units above, below, and to the right, I'm going to move 8 units. I'm going to move to 8, and I'm going to be at a negative 2. I'm going to move to negative 2 and be at a negative 2. And then if I move, I will go to 3 and a positive 3. And then a 3 and a negative 7. And that's kind of what we did. We went ahead and put our points and then we attached. And that's how we sketched our circle. Okay, so now let's look at number 5. For each circle in the picture below, tell its center and radius and then write the equation. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at the circles, and go ahead and mark the centers of all of your circles. That would be the first place to start. Mark the center of all of your circles. And if you notice here, they have the circles labeled so you know which circle they're referring to. Excuse me. So for circle C, I know my center is at -3 and 6, which is right here. And if I count over, I know my radius is 1. And then I have my equation here. So now I want to do the same thing for circle D. What is my center at here? That would be a -3, 3. Giving me a radius of, that's correct, 2. So my equation would be what? X plus 3 because it's negative squared, and then y minus 3 squared, and that's going to equal my radius squared, which is 4. So I want you to complete the other 3. Complete the other 3 and then be ready to do number 6, and we'll complete the rest in class. Have a good evening.